Thanks for doing this with me, Sophia. I enjoy this.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet me. we've met each other a little bit. We've talked a little bit, right? So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. We've sort of been like dodging around this subject, like as we've been talking in general. But what I find really interesting is the dichotomy with traveling. There's a great freedom, but then there's a great loneliness with that.
And with the traveling?
With traveling, right? Because you're free, you don't have anything that you're attached to, but because of that, it's also can be very lonely at times as well. And then another layer of that I find interesting are these little love stories that happen while traveling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
you mean like the spontaneous love experiences, like you don't know this person, but then you get to know a person for a few days maybe.
Yeah.
And then you have the feeling you kind of fall in love with this person. Do you mean that?
Yeah, that can be the feeling, and now that's another question. Is it love? Is it infatuation? What is it exactly? And I thought this would be interesting to talk about if you're comfortable talking about it, because you just had an experience recently that I think you're trying to figure out, and you're revolving through how you were feeling, what those thoughts were with this little like travel love affair with this person. And you mentioned something. You were like, you said you were talking about like how you felt heartbroken to someone. You said you were oversharing, and then this person's like, no, that's not heartbreak, it's this.
Yeah.
And then the other way of looking at it, where it's like, yeah, maybe it's just hormones, maybe it's just like there's all these frames of mind and
it's hard
and thinking about what these feelings are, you know.
It's kind of hard actually to figure out what these feelings are really real, you know what I mean? And as you taught me, you don't need to get the confirmation of other people. So if you have that feeling, you got heartbroken, even though just within a few days, this is fine. I mean, this is just how you feel, and you don't have to justify your emotions there, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think most important is just to hold on, and I mean, like, to get to know your feelings better, you know?
Yeah, it's like
to accept it.
It's like a fast forward lesson. It's like a really quick lesson.
Yes.
Because I feel like these lessons could be had not traveling, but these relationships might be, weeks instead of days, or months instead of weeks, or years, or whatever, and you might get the same feeling. But with traveling, it's just very quick in terms of.
Of course, because I think this is really a theory. Like, for example, we talked about it a lot, about the hormones filling your body, and that makes something also with your brain. So for me, it sometimes feels like if hormones are filling my body, that my brain gets out of order in a certain way. And I don't know if it's just that. I don't think so, because this is a little difficult here, because there are several theories that say that when you're on vacation, then you get to fall in love easier than a normal life, because you're already on such an adrenaline, because you're discovering something new, you're out of your normal life, and that is already exciting enough, right? Because you're like already in such a mood where you want to explore things and stuff.
Yeah.
And I have the feeling then, if this comes on top, that you get to know a person and you feel kind of attracted to this person, maybe you also get physical to the person, then it adds hormones. And on some point the theory says that your brain confuses these things, like which is the adrenaline because of exploring things, because I'm in another place now, and which one is because of the person.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean, like, this is tricky.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story. I didn't even want to like bring this up, but now I will, because I'll be honest with it. But like, I was doing coke this one night, and I was like, man, I like this girl. I really like this girl. I really like this girl. And then I was coming down, and then I'm like, damn, that was the coke. But it's sort of a similar thing. I didn't want to make it about drugs, but like I the similarity I saw was in you're feeling good. I think that's what it is. You're feeling good, simply put. And sometimes it's hard to know what that is. You know, it's like, is it this person, or is it just the experience in general?
Yeah.
And that's why it's helpful having these fast experiences, even though they hurt, is because everything changes around you, but of course you don't change. So I think it's a way to not bullshit yourself. It's a way to see who you are, because you get, like, the people change around you and whatnot, but then it's like, man, am I feeling this way because of me? And that's usually how it is. I think that's what a lot of people discover while traveling, is like, ooh, I don't like this feeling within myself. You know?
Yeah, and I think here it comes to the point where you have to ask yourself, do you need to know why you're feeling like you're feeling like, you know what I mean? Like, do you need to know if it's because of the person? Is it because of the hormones going crazy because of exploring? I mean, this is really a thing. And I also really believe, because I experienced that in a not romantic way, because you can have feelings, of course, not only in the romantic way, like not only you're getting physically attracted, there is chemistry, but also like in a friendship way. So for me personally, I can feel romantic with a person I don't feel attracted to in a physical way. You know what I mean? So this means I can feel romantic with a person by being understood without having the feeling I need to get physical with this person.
But I feel like that's a different thing. I wouldn't call that romance, because I think romance is all-encompassing. It's the friendship with the sexual, with the the core understanding of the person. I think that's what romance is. Although
that's your concept of romance.
Okay,
because
but we need
I felt romance with a person I didn't feel I want to get closer in the physical way, and it felt like romance for me because I felt emotional connected to this person. Really. But yeah.
That's interesting. I feel like there should be another word for that, though, right? Because to me that's just like companionship. Like, that's just maybe like trust, the ability to trust someone, or the ability to care about someone. But I wouldn't call that romance, right? Because romance is that, man, what is romance? That's an interesting thing. But I don't know. I think romantic, again, it is just a definitional game, but we need a definition we can agree on. I would say romance kind of has to have that physical aspect, isn't it? Like, would you feel comfortable calling that like companion? We don't have a word. We're missing something. We're missing something.
And this is the thing. Sometimes I have the feeling there's the lack of words for things I want to express. You know what I mean? Like, I have sometimes a feeling I have to. There's so much going on, and I could express it, but sometimes I'm like, the words aren't enough to express what I'm feeling and what I want to say. And I also don't know how to express them so other people can always understand me.
Yeah.
So this is something you can learn maybe on exercise your communication, I guess, like your verbal communication.
Exactly, and that's like what you were talking about earlier. Like, we don't necessarily need to understand where these emotions are coming from. We can just let the emotion be, but then as soon as we want to relate to other people and communicate with other people, we're stuck with that limitation where, maybe it's important to forget the labels, forget like putting anything in a box, or, making a linguistic model for something for our own understanding. But then I think once that's there, then we have to work backwards and create that linguistic model as reductive as it is, just to be able to communicate with each other.
So sometimes you're kind of forced to use labels, right? So other people know what you mean. Like, I mean, labels are like constructs, so you can make them kind of visualize in your head, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a model.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you mean, but it doesn't always feel right to put everything in labels, as it's kind of limitation for me sometimes.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's kind of helpful for me. You know what I mean? Maybe you know that.
No, that's a tricky thing, right? Because it's both. I think the key isn't to be like no labels or labels. The key is use it when it's applicable. A good analogy that I like for labels are like trains. Like they take you to a city, for example, but then if you just stay with the label, it's like just staying in the train station. You're not actually like exploring the city. It's like, oh, I went to Rome, and you're just in Roma Termini. You know, you took the train there as the label. The label brought you to that, but then you didn't actually get the understanding, which is by going beyond that.
So it has just a functional mode, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it has the function to bring you from place A to place B, right?
Exactly.
And then to explore the surrounding, I mean, that's a reason why you took the train, I guess. You have to leave the train and you have to get out of the train, right?
Yeah.
To be able to explore it.
Yeah.
So, and then going back maybe to be able to go to another place with this train, explore
or to be able to connect things together, to see, I guess how I came to that metaphor is I think labels give general place markers, like this is where this thing is, this is where this thing is, this is where this thing is, and it helps connect where the things are, but it doesn't necessarily give you that understanding or the deeper meaning of what that thing is. And I think in today's day and age we've gotten so technical with things, and I played that game. I loved the game of, you know, well, what's the definition? We were just playing it with fucking romantic, right? But but it is too. It's like too fine. It's not. It's like a little game. It's just like a little linguistic game. It's not actually helping us understand each other or ourselves better.
But I think this is nice that you got to a point where you have to notice that even though you're using the same label, it can mean different things from person to person you're
Exactly.
talking with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this leads me really to a point where I just one more time get there where I think it's so important to communicate with people. You know, like communication is key, I think. So I think many struggles, like within relationships, if it's romantic or friendships or family, I don't know.
With any relationships with
any
humans.
kind of relationships with humans, even though it's just a small talk, I don't know, at the supermarket, it can lead to misunderstanding if you lack of communication.
Yeah, well, it's like if you walked into the supermarket and you had like a bottle of water in your hand, and like you didn't set it outside, or like you had it in your hand, and so like as you're walking out, they're like, we need to check that out. Versus if you were first like, hey, I'm bringing this in. I don't know, I was just following your example. I couldn't think of anything better. But even beyond the small talk, I mean, just being very transparent. Hey, this is where I stand. This is what I'm doing right here. This is what I'm gonna do. This is where I'm going. That way there's less friction, you know? I think good communication, it's a way to get ahead of the conflict. It's a way to, because conflict happens from misunderstanding. If we can communicate better, we won't have as many misunderstandings and we'll have less conflicts.
So you think like precise communication can prevent conflicts?
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be precise. It just has to, well, I mean, we're talking generally. Generally, the more precise communication is, yes, the less conflict there will be. But I think the more important factor is just open, and I think it's putting the effort, because we recognize that in each other. Like if you're genuinely putting effort into something, if you're really trying with something, and then something goes awry, it's like, okay, like we can work on this together because this is your intention. But I think the worst thing is when you don't try to communicate for whatever reason, and then things go awry, and it's like it makes it less fun to work with people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because the person maybe lack of putting effort in something, because it means effort and energy, so you have to kind of invest in something so that you gain fruits, for example.
Sure.
So yeah, you have to be on a similar level to be able to communicate also with the person.
Yeah, that's the really tricky part, and I run into that sometimes. Sometimes because the most natural thing for me, or the most fun way to communicate for me is just to jump right into. It's trying not to change how I talk around people. Like it's just having maybe having a little bit more energy. And sometimes I've noticed in approaching people and meeting people with that energy, if they're not on that energy, it's like I get deflected very easily. But then for me, I'm like, okay, well now it's like I know I can connect with this person. I know I can connect with this person. And so then I just find a different moment and try a different approach, try a different energy. Because I'm like, okay, I see. Maybe I was coming across a little bit too energetic. I'm gonna, what's something we can connect on? What's something we can relate to?
Okay.
And once I find that, then we get to communicate. Then we're on the same level.
I have a question here. Why do you have the need, you think, or you guess, to be able to talk with everybody or to connect with everybody for communication?
I mean, I don't know. Is it a need? I don't think so. I think there's certain people I can see from afar that I make the assumption that I don't need to connect with them. And maybe that assumption is wrong, but I try to challenge that. I try to challenge that and connect with more people. And I think that's sort of a process I've been going on for a lot of my life, is like, oh, I don't want to fucking connect with those people. And then being like, okay, what is those people? What is this idea I have in my head? There's something we can connect on. Let's get to that. And having that more and more so. And I don't know, maybe it is to serve some like deep need of mine. I don't know. But at the same time, I think it's also just fun, right? It's fun for me to challenge myself to be able to connect with people.
Is it a challenge for you to speak to people? Like to be the guy who's making the first step here?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think it's hard for everyone. I think it's hard for everyone to. Transitions are always hard. It's like jumping into cold water, like talking with someone new. It's like, fuck, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know who this person could be. This and this and this, and your mind can fucking make all these projections and make all these assumptions, and it's scary. But then it's like exciting too to break through that water, and to make it happen. And then the other thing that's exciting is the more that process happens, the easier it gets. The easier it gets to just see someone and just make that connection happen. And for me, that's very, very rewarding. But it is difficult. But I don't know if it's more difficult for me than for others. I would say usually I think I approach other people more than other people approach me.
Yeah, because when I can add that here, for me it seemed that it's easy for you to get in talks with people. Like, I recognize that you're often the one who is making the start of the conversation, and it seems like natural. Like, I have the feeling you don't have to think about it a lot, you just make it. So
yeah,
I think it's interesting when you say there's a lot of going on in your brain when you talk to people or before that moment.
It's before. It totally is before. And the reason why you notice that I am quicker in that is because I want to get out of that mental space as soon as possible. I want to get out of that indecisive. It's not escaping it, it's going through it. It's not escaping it because I have to fucking go into it.
Is it like going through the wall, maybe? I don't know.
Going through the wall. What do you mean by that?
Wall. Like you create your own wall.
Yeah.
And you're going just through it, or maybe you create a door in it, like your tools.
I like this. Like visual idea. I haven't thought about it that way. But I guess no. It is a barrier that we kind of create in our minds. It's just going through that. There's nothing to be. It's silly, right? It's silly to think that I don't know. There's no way to. It's tough because like before you talk to someone, it can be like there's all these silly thoughts, all this like, oh, this could be embarrassing, this could turn out bad, they could not like me, this and that. But then it's silly because it's like you're already in a position where you're not talking to them. You can't lose anything.
No, you can't.
You can't.
And I think this is the part about it. It's like social filters maybe. Or like, I think it's also like kind of conventions in some way holding us back.
Conventions? How so? What conventions?
Maybe, for example, I don't know if it fits here, this example, but sometimes I have the feeling the people are looking at me when I'm laughing too loud at the restaurant because it's a convention, right? So it could prevent, it could, I don't know how to say, it could lead to the fact that I'm holding myself back because I know, oh, they would gaze and they would stare at me if I would do so. But I laugh hard because I feel like it. So I think it's important to be authentic. And if you get to know yourself better and if you gain like self-worth, I think at the same time you're making less thoughts about it. How could I come, or like, how could the other person
Perceive
see
me?
me?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like, because you don't care, right? Because if the person doesn't want to talk to you, it's good.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't meant to be, right?
Yeah.
So good for you also, because so you don't have to put energy in this conversation when it wasn't meant to be either. So because if the person would just send you one word sentences, you're like, okay, I don't mind, then it's okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, I noticed that also at hostels. So if I have the feeling that it's not going more into like it's just small talk and stuff, then I'm like, okay, I prefer just being on my own, just journaling, just doing yoga, and this is fine. And sometimes small talk can be fun, right? Like
sometimes.
If you have the feeling that you vibe with the person, this is really good. Like, I like that. But I come to a point where I don't force myself anymore to talk to people because
It's exhausting.
Don't want that. You know what I mean? It's exhausting and it just puts energy away. And why? Why do you have to make effort if it puts energy away?
I think you said something important. It's about not perceiving. You perceive yourself, but it's about not thinking about yourself when it's all, or thinking about how you're perceived. When you're always thinking about how you're perceived, that is a fucking mental hell. That is a mental hell.
Yeah.
Because it's like a paradox, right? That's the only thing we don't have. Like, we perceive ourselves through ourselves. We can't perceive ourselves the way other people perceive us. Yes, we can try, and it's good to try. It's a good exercise, but it is also debilitating all the time. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, when I notice I'm having the best time, what I notice when I'm, being the most joyful, or I'm hoping that the people around me are having a good time, so I'm not fucking thinking about who I am.
Exactly.
And then it's people just connecting with that and enjoying that, and that's fantastic. And
because,
it's nothing I have to do because it's already there. My energy's already there, and realizing that is a fucking huge thing. It's like I don't have to morph myself into being anything. People are gonna want to be around me and are gonna appreciate being around me if I just do nothing.
So this is the thing, when you have the feeling you can be your true self, then you don't have to put so much energy in it, right? Like, because you're already accepted as who you are and you have the feeling you can just be unfiltered maybe, and you don't have to think about stuff. Well,
I think that's important, right? There's always gonna be people who won't accept our true self, right? Our self, whatever.
Yeah.
I think the key is we have to be the ones to do that. If we can accept ourselves and we can appreciate ourselves, then we'll know there's people that aren't going to appreciate that. And that's great. That's fine. Because I do. And I appreciate myself.
And I got to the point where I thought, isn't it great to be not liked by everyone? Isn't that a really good sign that you're your true self? Because if you would adapt to everybody and anything to be liked, that means you don't have a personality, right? You don't have your own personality because you're used to adapt. And if there are persons who don't like your personality, I think this is such a great thing, and I love that.
That's such a refreshing perspective. I've never thought about it that way. If there's people that don't like me, it means that I have an original personality.
Yeah, of course, it's nothing but that. And
that's fantastic.
And I love that. I love that even more if I don't like this person either. Like, when I know, okay, I mean, like, when I think, okay, this person, I don't mean, it's hard for me.
I don't
like this view of the person, or the person is a little really critical and judgmental person. And I mean, I just want to say you don't have to like everybody.
For me, it's like it used to be more demeaning. My perspective was more demeaning on people. Like, oh, it's because they're not good in this way, or they're not good in this way, or they're not good in this way. That's why I don't like him, because I'm good. You know, is this weird thing. But now the way I look at it, it's like, that's that vibration. This is my vibration. I don't feel like going to that vibration right now.
Yeah,
not
you
that
don't have to.
It's and maybe like part of my mind is, you know, being judgmental, like, oh, this is good and that's not good. But it's just different, and it's like that's refreshing for me, is just to say, like, yeah, it's I don't need to be in that frequency, and it feels better too.
No, you
It
don't,
feels
yeah.
better. It's just like I don't know, maybe that's just from like having a fucking big ego. I don't know if other people have dealt with that, but it's refreshing to not demean people, even if it's not like a verbal thing, even if it's just in your head, even if it's like this, like, you know, like having to push other people down to like feel like you have to, you know, feeling like you can't swim, so you have to push other people down, you have to drown people to breathe air, like that feeling. Oh, that's such a shitty feeling. Such a shitty feeling, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary, because we can all fucking swim. It's fine.
I saw it a lot in people, to be honest, who try to push others down to feel better by themselves, which for me is really pathetic. I mean,
it is pathetic.
It's pathetic, and I feel sorry for these people in a certain way, and in the same way, I'm just like, please, get the fuck to therapy. I don't know.
Well, no, it's...
you know, like, because also for themselves, but especially, of course, for their environment, because for me, just is not a healthy way.
It's not a healthy way for everyone.
Yes.
And the metaphor I just stumbled upon, I actually really like that, because you're right. Like, it sucks for these people as well. Of course, it sucks for people around them, but it is literally like they're drowning, and they have to take the people around them and push them down to be able to breathe. That is what it is. And it seems like on the surface, it's like, oh, that they're just being mean, or they're just like, oh, they feel this way. No, it feels like you're not enough, and you have to push people down.
Yeah, of course.
And make other people less.
Yeah, of course.
Because if other people are less, then maybe you'll be something, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Everyone ends up fucking drowning.
I think it comes from a lack of confidence here, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it comes from a lack of confidence. I think it comes from, I mean, what side do we take in this here? Like, is it a lack of confidence? Is it a lack of confidence, or is it an abundance of insecurity, right? Because I don't know. It's similar, but it's a little bit different. I think it's more so this feeling of inadequacy. It's this feeling of that it won't ever be enough. I think that's what it comes from. And you could say that's a lack of confidence, but I think it's deeper than that.
And also insecurity, of course. And my own theory about insecurity is like that most of the people, like really most of the people, are insecure in themselves, but they have gained different skills to handle this insecurity. And these people you just described, like the people who have the feeling to push others down to feel better, they have like a really bad compensatory strategy, of course, you know, like a bad coping strategy.
Yeah.
Because that also means that other people feel also bad, maybe, especially the people who can't emotionally distract. And so I think for me, it really helped me to gain skills where I can just distract myself from others, like seeing myself as a separate individual and don't get too attached too easily. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like being myself with my emotions, this is the person with his emotions. And I mean, it's really so important to be able to feel empathy. I think empathy is like one of the most important values you can have. And I think, for example, as working as a teacher, this is really something I want to teach my students as well.
It's a hard thing to teach. I think empathy is the most valuable intelligence. For sure.
Yeah, it's part of emotional intelligence here.
Yeah, I would, my opinion is that's the most important intelligence. because you can understand things, you can understand how things work, but if you don't understand people,
Yeah.
then this world will suck.
Yeah.
This world will always suck.
But I think empathy is like really a thing here, because maybe empathy can also be something which is working against you. For example, if you have to deal with people that have really narcissistic traits, they can totally put your empathy against yourself. Because they know how to manipulate you, and they make excuses for everything, and your empathy will get your worst enemy.
Well, that's why yeah. So with empathy, you need boundaries.
Yes, for sure.
Or being an empathetic person, being a kind person, you need boundaries.
You always need boundaries, especially when you're a kind person, because people will use you to the, you know.
So it's this interesting battle, right? Because it's like empathy is like dissolving into everything else, right? And then you lose this identity more so, right? I'm just taking it to the extreme. And then you become very vulnerable, right? And then ego, I don't know, ego, what, or like, I don't want to say narcissism, but like caring, like having a very strong ego, like focusing on that, it makes it harder because you're not dissolving out, but like, it's like a balance of both, right? I guess that's the tricky thing. Maybe I'm just trying to find that equilibrium, because yeah, you can be 100% empathetic, but then you will just give everything away. You won't have anything, and maybe that is a reasonable existence. Maybe you can exist in that way, because now I'm just like thinking like maybe if that was your energy, then you would attract the right people, and just be in an environment. Because if everyone was like that,
but
wow.
To be honest, I think you can't be immune. You know what I mean? Like
Immune to what?
To bad people.
Yeah.
Because is that, of course, I go along with you when you say you have to balance and regulate, and by having the energy, you don't attract this bad people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are people out there, like especially the smart ones, who just know how to act, so they can get you there where they want to.
Yeah.
And then you're already so attached in a way. Very, yeah. It's
well, it depends.
difficult.
I think for me it was about setting the right goal. I set the goal to learn from every situation. So, yes, I want to connect, and I'm not saying that goal is any lesser, but when that doesn't work out, and when the universe gives me a punch, then I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know more about this, and I take that victory, and I
so
take
you see
that
it
information.
as a victory?
Yeah. It's information.
Also about yourself, I guess, how you're acting in different situations.
And this is tricky because, like, at first I thought, I'm like, it's kind of sad, because I'm like, maybe, because what I'm explaining, I saw it more as like losing faith in people, because yeah, people will fuck you over, and you lose faith in people, and I'm like, man, that's so sad. It's so nice to be naive, and to just be able to trust people, and just to love people, and then you get broken, and that's not there, and I don't think that'll ever be there to the same level. That naivete will not be at that level ever again. I'm like, man, that's sad. But I try to, how I'm morphing that is, I think I still have that hope for people, but it's just a little bit more tempered. I'm not if people betray my trust, then that's okay. Like it's not, I'm not going to let that break me. to the same level.
This
But I'm
is
still
good.
gonna trust people. But if you know what I mean, it's because you don't want to. And maybe again, maybe I'm lucky to not have been completely broken. Maybe at that point, then you can never trust anyone, or maybe that's the feeling that you get, and maybe you could stick with that.
So would you say you build yourself like a wall by going through this trust issues maybe that you gained because of people?
See, that's the thing I was afraid of, but I haven't done that.
But you got more careful, so you don't trust any.
No, see, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but I'm trying to have the best of both worlds, and I think it's not having a wall. I think it's letting the fucking army come and run you over.
But you're better prepared maybe, or not? Not even that.
I don't even know if it's maybe it's better prepared. Okay, here's the image I'm thinking of, right? So you're talking about a wall, right? So say I'm a garden. We're all gardens, right? And these barriers we put around ourselves, these walls from, getting fucking chopped down. But I think the strategy I've taken is no, don't let the getting chopped down. I don't want to build up walls, because then I can't have the good things about connecting with people. I want those good things as well, right? Of course, the boundary defends you against the bad things, but then it prevents genuine good connection. I'm like, okay, fuck that. I want to have the genuine connections, even if they're small, even if they're like very short time. I want to have that. But when the storms come, when the armies come or whatever and chop me down, fine, because all that material is just going to build better soil. So now I can grow, I can put that energy back into myself. I think that's a very important realization. Being broken, you're broken. It fucking sucks. But that energy is within you again to be rebuilt, and I think it's stronger. I think you get more energy from it.
After it, or
Yeah.
maybe also like during going, like during.
And that's why I'm being a
that?
nerd about soil, because it's funny, because it is the same thing. When you chop a plant down,
Yeah.
it falls down on the soil, right? But then it builds the soil, which makes it stronger for the next plant to come up.
So I just had to think about emotions in general. Like, you can't feel the good emotions without feeling the bad emotions. Like, after every down there's also a high. Maybe it's also like that, you know what I mean? So if you would build this wall, you would not be able to be broken again, which is great.
Yeah.
But also at the other side, you would also not be able to get this good feeling which comes along with feeling connected.
Yeah.
And with feeling understood, seen.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's what being numb. That's what being numb is. It's nothing. It's I don't feel any pain.
sad.
I don't feel any pain, but I don't feel anything.
Yeah, this is the baddest thing about it, I think, because for me, feeling numb is like feeling not really alive. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just my physical appearance is here, but I'm not really there.
Yeah.
And this sucks. So it's better to be able
It's like
to
just
feel
being in a
it.
costume, or just being in a mask, just being hollow. That's what
Yeah.
numb is like.
And everything is just a facade,
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't know. And there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe it's better. I mean, it's something. It's a modality of existing. It's something, and I think it's a place to go. It's a way of being for people to go to, for periods of time. And maybe there's some benefit in it. But I would rather feel. And then from that, then I can have gratitude. I can have gratitude for the feeling, because I'm thinking, maybe I don't have to relate it all back to learning, but that really helps. That's really something that it always revolves back to.
What does help you?
Everything is a lesson. There's information in everything. You can learn from everything.
And I think gratitude is really a thing here. Like being grateful for things can lead you to a state where you feel like really happy, or maybe happy is not the right word, but blessed.
Oh, it's so difficult to describe, but I honestly think it might be joy. It might be joy. Because gratitude, it's like, have you ever taken MDMA?
No.
Okay.
But you obviously.
It's like, because I took Molly like after like I produced a similar effect by myself, or like when I was on it, I was like, oh, this, like, I've felt this before, like I know this feeling, and it was much stronger, and it was like, and it was just there, but I'm like, I know this is already in me, this is already a part of me, but like, yeah, because I spent some time alone at the beginning of my travels for some time, and I went into that, and as soon as I started making connections, it was when I talked to Mimo and Claudia, these two friends that I made in Calabria. I did a podcast with them. It was after that I remember walking back and just like, yeah, just this overwhelming feeling of just joy. And again, the reason that I'm like comparing this to MDMA is because it was that powerful. It like, and I'd been sober for like weeks, like, yeah, weeks isn't that long of a time, 2 months I think.
But what was powerful, like feeling connected with people?
I don't know. I just, it was more than that. It was like I was proven right. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess like I asked a question to myself, of like, can I connect with people? I don't know exactly what it was.
But it was a nice feeling then.
It's like, yeah, it's a fantastic feeling, but I think it's something that we create. It's something we get to create, which is it's like saying that now is like adding more to it, because it just grows, like this appreciation for life. Like, I don't know. And of course, like, smoking weed can help to, like, you know, tune into that, but it's there all the time. It's I think, to put it into words simply, it's just life is good. But yeah, that comes from gratitude. But I think positivity is a form of gratitude, because you're expressing the positivity. You're affirming. No, yes, but it's being optimistic is affirming that reality. It's the same thing when you're pessimistic. You're affirming that reality. That's why, like, depression and like negativity, it's a fucking infinite void of darkness and despair and horrible shit. But the other side is there too, and it's affirmed by
I just had to think
just
about
saying life is good. It affirms that, and that in and of itself is gratitude, because you're I think that's like the string that's like pulling the string of gratitude, like to, like, you know, get it here, like, because I don't know how do you describe gratitude, but I think gratitude is affirming the positivity within something. It's seeing the positive and affirming it,
and also to which amount this thing is serving you, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even need to serve you though. It could be a dog on the street, you know, and you could be like, that's a beautiful dog.
Yeah, but I think for me personally, it also serves me kind of way, as it's bringing joy to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy the moment, so it serves me in a way.
But I think what serves me more is not thinking about it through the lens of what's serving me. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I'm thinking about something serving me, if I'm like, I'm feeling good because that serves me. Or like, I want to feel good because that serves me. Like, I want to feel good. Like, that doesn't, for me, that doesn't deliver me there.
So you force it.
It doesn't deliver me. No, it's a different perspective. The perspective of, like, not even thinking that way, just being like, that's nice. just like simple, or like life is good. That's a beautiful mountain. This is a great moment right here.
Yeah. So living in the moment.
You know, these yeah, I think it brings you to living. Yeah, by being in the moment. Yeah, it's what's first. I mean, it's all there.
I think it's all about consciousness.
Yeah.
And about being aware of everything, or not everything. That would be bad.
No.
To be aware of everything, I guess. I mean, it is a bad thing, to be honest. Like, retreats.
Okay. Yeah.
Like meditation retreats, and it's not so uncommon that people who are having a normal life and then going to a retreat, and this retreat, we assume it's far away from your place you used to live, and it's far away from the civilization you are used to, and it's separated from everything, right?
Yeah.
And you're making deep meditation, like, for example, don't talk with other people surrounding you for days, and you get to a point where you're so aware that the people feeling so aware in the state and going back to their normal life, they will kill themselves sometimes because they're too aware. So if you want to get to a point where you're aware, this kind of meditation should be integrated to society to a certain point, and not be excluded, because you can. For me personally, I think you can be too aware for our society to feel not good anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of dark shit happening in the world. There's a lot of dark shit. There's a lot of pain, for sure. Yeah. And that's the thing, too, because I think this is like the tool of depression. I don't know. This is just the feeling I get. It's like, it feels more intelligent. It feels more aware. It feels more indicative of reality, at least when it's there. It's like, yes, this is obvious. And it's obvious that it's obvious. And it's obvious that it's obvious that it's obvious. Like this just fucking terrible, fucking dark feeling. But it's... And then from that frame of view, looking at positivity, or like someone just being like, life is good, someone that's really feeling it, someone that's really evoking it, that fucking just feels like the stupidest fucking thing in the world to even think in that way. It feels, I don't know, it just feels like overly simple. It feels like it's like an illusion. It's like you're creating an illusion. You're creating a bubble of happiness for yourself, just to exist in that bubble.
Does it matter at the end of the day?
No, it doesn't matter, but that's the frame of view coming from the other side, and that's why it's hard to flip over. But at the same time, I don't know, because I don't think being happy or being grateful or being, whatever this is we're talking about, whatever this feeling is ignorant. I don't think it is unintelligent. I don't think it, it's simple, but it's like, I don't know, it feels like a secret. Like it feels like because I don't think it makes the world any less real. And I think it can help to see more things. And I think it can help to work with dark things and work with bad things. Because, but then, I don't know. I don't have enough experience to even adequately think about this, really.
But you mean like simple is not always intelligent, if I got it right?
I'm going back and forth, and I'm having trouble understanding myself as well. It's because I just like going back and forth between the perspectives. I guess it'd be nice to outline it, like the experience of having gratitude, and then the experience of like pessimism, or I don't know exactly what to label it as.
Like the negative emotions, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. And sometimes they like each take over for a little bit of time, but I think generally, like we can shift ourselves as people into one side more so. And from the darker side, the more positive side seems very
unreachable,
ignorant.
Ah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's like if you knew what I knew, you wouldn't be happy. You know, kind of thing. It's like it's ignorant.
Isn't it also like arrogant at the same time?
Yes.
In a certain way.
Yes.
I can't explain why it comes to my mind, but it feels arrogant to me.
Yeah, but I think
and judgmental.
I'm just trying to think like, which is it? You know, I'm trying to think which is it, because getting into the perspective of gratitude, I don't think there's any less acknowledgement for what's there. I think it's just a tool to make things better. And if we can have that tool, then we can figure out other tools to make other things better. And I think that should be the mindset. I don't know, I went off into that.
That's also an interesting
But no, that's the way I think about it. Like we're more effective in doing anything if we're happier, if we're more grateful. And I think that's the winning argument against the side of no, that's ignorant.
Yeah, for me, feeling happy also means to be more open. You know what I mean? And not feeling stuck. For me, like being in negative emotions kind of feels stuck. And so you are not open to get to know something. So in such an amount as if you would be happy, I guess. You know?
I think it makes it harder to do everything.
Ignorant. Yeah.
Makes it harder to do just about everything. And why should things be harder to do? If things are easier to do, then we can either do more of it and have much more, or do less of it and still have more. Like if we're better at doing it, that should be the goal. Whatever it is we want to do, even if we want to do nothing, then we'll get better at doing that. Better at just enjoying it.
Yeah, and that's also great. Okay. Can we stop here?
Of course.